Out of all the genres on Roblox, horror has been one of the least explored on the platform. Many horror games are either not well made or just not scary. However, recently, two horror games have stood out and rose to popularity thanks to being very well made and overall enjoyable to play. These games are Apeirophobia and Doors. Today, I'll be comparing these two horror experiences and finding out which one triumphs over the other. Let's begin. First, I'll start out with Apeirophobia. Apeirophobia is a Roblox horror game created by Polaroid Studios, formerly known as Monochrome Studios. It centers around the exploration of the backrooms, a seemingly endless supply of random areas which all have a sense of nostalgia and wonder to them. The game takes heavy inspiration from Kane Pixel's own Backroom series, which was released a few months before the game came out. While exploring the backrooms, however, you are not alone. Many of these levels have entities, which can make it very difficult for you to escape to the next level alive. The game is much more about puzzle solving and exploration than Doors, and requires lots of skill to navigate certain levels. The game also earns its horror title thanks to the uncertainty of what the entities do and where they are, especially if this is your first time playing. Now, let's move on to Doors. Doors is a recently released Roblox horror game where you must progress through 100 randomly picked rooms, which can have their own set of obstacles in them. This game is heavily inspired by another Roblox game called Rooms, which has almost an identical premise to Doors. Like Apeirophobia, you'll have to avoid lots of different entities while trying to reach the end of Doors. These entities require you to think fast and avoid them, or face the ultimate consequence. Now that we have a baseline for both games, let's compare them both, shall we? Let's begin with the gameplay. Apeirophobia's gameplay revolves around going through certain levels and finding the exit to these levels. Whether that's by just walking around or collecting keys, each room has an objective, which you must complete to exit. Some of these rooms are completely safe, while others have you running for your life. Literally. In Doors, the gameplay is largely a point A to point B adventure. You traverse through different rooms, while sometimes having to find a key or complete a puzzle to progress. The individual rooms are much easier to clear than the levels of Apeirophobia. But Doors rooms are randomly picked, which means each time you play, you'll get a different selection of areas to walk through. While Doors gameplay is much more replayable, I'll have to give this one to Apeirophobia, simply due to the diverse goals of each level and the steps it takes to complete them. Next, let's talk about entities. Each game is chock full of different entities, which will try and stop you from progressing. Apeirophobia's entity mainly follow one simple guideline: kill at all costs. They will chase you down and will not hesitate to strike you down when given the chance. Some entities have special conditions, like they can't see you, but can hear you. And there's the occasional phantom smiler, which I absolutely hate. With Doors, the entities are much more varied, and each have their own mechanics, which make them unique to one another. There's also bosses every couple of rooms, which makes it more interesting and varied compared to that of Apeirophobia. I'm not going to go into too much detail, as I don't want to spoil the game, but in short, Timothy is the best entity in the game. Don't at me. Doors wins this one by a mile. Thirdly, let's talk about atmosphere. Both games portray a very strong feeling of being lost, but do it in different ways. The levels of Apeirophobia feel very empty and make you feel desperate for answers, while Doors gives a feeling of mystery and curiosity. One thing about Doors is it reminds me a lot of the game Luigi's Mansion 3. If you've played that game, you definitely know what I talk about, especially with the variety of different types of rooms, styles, etc. However, due to the impressive, maintained atmosphere, Apeirophobia takes the W on this category. For this next category, we have multiplayer. Now, both games can be played in single player, and can easily be beaten with just one person. But multiplayer allows for more fun with friends, and sometimes a bit of an easier experience. Apeirophobia can support up to 10 players once you buy a specific Game Pass. This Game Pass is not cheap, and the worth is really up to the player. The game, however, is not very different with friends. It's just a lot easier, but nothing really sticks out. Doors, meanwhile, changed up the gameplay slightly, making enemies slightly easier to avoid with more people. The game also allows an additional 2 people for a total of 12. The game is also very enjoyable with a little bit of extra help, especially at level 50, which can be completed much faster with additional people. Overall, thanks to slight changes and an overall better experience, Doors wins this category. Next is a slightly controversial one, glitches. Glitches are something that have affected both games greatly, but each has a way of dealing with it. Kinda. Apeirophobia does, well, almost nothing, just giving you a different death noise if you happen to die in a strange way. Honestly, the game has a lot of glitches, which happen at random, specifically at times of new updates when they haven't been patched. Doors, on the other hand, has an entire entity to help out with the glitches, called, well, Glitch. Glitch can help teleport the player when certain rooms don't load properly. This allows the game to progress without being completely broken. This especially helps considering the game has heavy ARG and not everything can be determined. Due to this, Doors wins this category once again. This last category will cover the most important thing in any horror game. Horror. Apeirophobia does an excellent job keeping the player on their feet and always scared for what's coming. You never know what that entity might be doing or where it's at, so you've always got to be on the lookout. The models of the monsters, along with the unpredictability, make the game incredibly scary at times, especially level 8, which I hate the most. Doors is also pretty scary, but not quite on the same effect. Some of the chase scenes can be very cinematic, and the library can be quite terrifying with the figure. However, compared to Apeirophobia, it can't compete with the level of scariness. So, what's the final verdict? What do I have to say? Well, overall, out of the two, I enjoy Apeirophobia by myself, but with friends, Doors is way more of an enjoyable experience. Both games are very different and take a spin on the horror genre. Both games are very different and each offers a spin on the horror genre, but if you want my overall opinion, I do believe Apeirophobia is the better game. Not by much, but I really do enjoy Apeirophobia, even though the game is kind of predictable. Thank you for watching this far in the video, I really do appreciate it. I'm really trying to work on my upload schedule at the moment. I just got off doing a full-time job, stuff like that, so now I have a bit of time to upload, and I thought I'd present you with this. I really appreciate you guys sticking around with me. I know I haven't been the most consistent YouTuber, but I think you guys will definitely enjoy what content I have coming up. Thank you guys for watching. This has been WD40 Gaming, and I'll see you later. Peace.